everyone, thank you for watching. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is what we ate for dinner this week. These meals are simple but delicious and they are filling. Most of my recipes are based off of recipes that my grandmother or my mother or even some are my great-grandmother's recipes. Some things I've made my own, some things I've kept the same. Some of the recipes call for some really odd ingredients that I've changed that I wouldn't cook with typically, but a lot of older people have because, you know, my grandmother's 70, I guess she's 73. My mother would have been 52 this year, and my great-grandmother was 102 when she passed. So some of the recipes I just particularly wouldn't cook with those ingredients, but some people still would. So I've just made them my own, and that's what I absolutely love about cooking and what, you know, this platform where we can share the foundation to these meals to make our own. That's the wonderful thing about cooking. It's nothing like baking, although I do love baking. Baking is definitely a science. You have to measure everything. Cooking is just a feel-good, everything you can do at your home. So anything I make and anything I share, you can always make your own and feel free to change anything. And if you do, I really would love to know, because maybe it might make it a little bit better or it would make it just a little different and it's something I never would have thought of. So definitely share anything you would change. If you enjoyed any of these recipes, feel free to leave that down below. I'm really excited if anybody got any ideas. So if you're interested in seeing what we made this week, just keep watching.
My meatloaves are very simplistic but still very good. I start with 1 onion soup mix pack, 2 beaten eggs, 1 cup of breadcrumbs, but I do half to begin with to see how much I need, and about 1/4 of a cup of ketchup. It's a very old-fashioned recipe, and then your salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder. And then I mix everything up really well until it's all incorporated, but I don't overmix so the meat gets tough. And then I form it into a loaf and I bake it in the oven.
Okay, and this is what it looks like. I did all white onion on top. We are big onion eaters. And I only did 1/4 of it with ketchup because most of the family doesn't particularly like when it caramelizes, which I don't know why, because I think it tastes delicious and sweet, almost like a barbecue sauce, but this is how we do it. And I'm going to bake this in the oven, probably 375 for an hour, and then check it. I'm sure it's going to need a little extra time, but I will definitely let you know how long I exactly cook this, and I'm going to make mashed potatoes with it.
My mashed potatoes are nothing special. I'm sure there's some really delicious gourmet recipes out there. My husband isn't a great big butter eater, so I only put about 3 tablespoons of butter. Most people would put an entire stick. I do add a little extra butter for me and the kids when I plate it, but I do about 3 teaspoons of salt, pepper, 3 tablespoons of butter, and maybe 1/2 cup of milk. And I usually warm the milk, but I guess this day I didn't. And then I just mash them up. We like them a little lumpier, but this is how we eat them. You can obviously take away or add anything that you like. This is just the starter of what we like. This recipe I like to call chicken parm casserole. I saw this online and I just tweaked it a little bit to my liking. And what I did was I cut 2 chicken breasts up. They were pretty large breast. I cut them up into quarters, and as they cook I'll sort of break them up a little, and I'm seasoning them with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and I'm sauteing them in probably 2 tablespoons of butter. And I will saute them completely through. You're also going to need any type of pasta. You could cook anything penne, any type of large pasta. You could even use elbow if you wanted, but I prefer the larger pasta with this dish because it's going to continue to cook in the oven. Now you could add any of your favorite pasta sauce, homemade, jarred, whatever you like. I just added a little bit of ragu, and I'm going to stir it up, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the rest of the Walmart sauce that I had in my fridge just to use it up. Here I'm going to add my penne to the chicken mixture and stir it really well, and then I'm going to put it in a baking dish so I can bake it in the oven. You can continue to add sauce to your liking. Our family likes stuff a little saucier, but if you like a little less, do a little less, but we like quite a bit. So that's what you're seeing me do, just adding it till I see that it's what we prefer. I always make 2 separate dishes when something has cheese in it because my husband can't have it. So I'll just add a little extra sauce to his, and he still likes it baked in the oven. He likes his a little crispy, and I will just bake it completely through without cheese, and then I will put cheese in ours. You could do any kind of cheese you like. Mozzarella is what we prefer, but you could do Parmesan cheese on top also. Anything you like. Cheddar too. Here is about a pound of shredded mozzarella. We won't be using anywhere near that much, but I think I added about half a cup, and I'm going to stir it in really well, add it to the dish, and then just top it with some more. I really love fresh mozzarella. It's in a little extra work, but it definitely tastes a little bit better than the bag that's already shredded. Here I am topping it with extra sauce just so nothing gets dry in the oven. Everything's already cooked through, so you don't have to cook this very long. I'm going to top ours with some extra mozzarella cheese, and all you need to do is bake this at 350 for maybe 20 to 25 minutes just till it's heated through and your cheese is nice and golden brown and bubbly. Okay mamas, today we are having jumbo shells. I'm going to do half with ricotta cheese and half with meat. So if you're interested in seeing how I make my shells, just keep watching. But first I'm going to boil these, and then we'll get to the filling. Like I just said before, my husband cannot eat any type of cheese. He's not any lactose intolerant to dairy. He just, for whatever reason, has never liked cheese. So I always make him something separate. So here I'm taking about a pound of ground beef and about a half of a medium onion, and I'm going to saute this all up until it's completely cooked through, and I season it with whatever seasonings you like. I did onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, but you could also add basil if you would like, because that would be really good with pasta. You could also add Italian seasoning, anything you like. I end up using about 2 cups of ricotta cheese. You could add anything to this. A lot of people love to add spinach. I also like spinach, but for whatever reason our Walmart didn't have any frozen spinach. But you could add anything you like to this. I usually do the ricotta, a little bit of mozzarella cheese because it's already very cheesy, and then salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder to taste. It's very simplistic, but it's also very delicious. And it's a very hearty meal. So you're definitely going to need something like a salad to sort of balance it out. I can't be the only mom that typically recruits their children to shred the cheese. I guess nobody was here this day, because usually this is one of their jobs. You get them all hyped up to grate the cheese. I can remember as a child always liking to do it, but here I am grating about a half a pound of mozzarella cheese, but you use as much as you would like. Because again, it's already very hearty and cheesy, so I just typically use a little bit, but you use whatever you like. I'm using the Garden Combo sauce from Walmart. It's 88 cents a jar, and it's really comparable to the ragu. I really like it, and we've liked every flavor we've tried, especially the tomato, garlic, and onion. It's really inexpensive, and it's truly not that bad, especially when you're adding flavors to it. I typically let my shells cool for about 20 minutes. That way I can handle them, because you're gonna have to pick them up. And here I am. You just pick up your stuffing and you fill it as much as you feel like you would like. You could do half, or I like to fill it to the top. And here I am just filling them with the meat mixture till the meat mixture's all done. Now moving on to the cheese mixture, and it's the exact same thing. You just take about, I'm gonna say about 3 tablespoons, and you just fill it up and you set it in your dish, and you just keep going until all the mixture's done or you run out of pasta. Here I'm taking that sauce again and just adding it to the top. You can add as much or as little as you like. I don't add too much because these don't bake too long in the oven, so they never have been dry for me. And then I only add a little bit of cheese on top for ours. And here I am adding sauce to his also. And I bake these in the oven at 350 again for about 25 to 35 minutes, depending on how long they need for the cheese and to completely warm through, and it also depends on everybody's oven, but I would say 350 for about 25 minutes, and here's the finished product. This is my favorite meal that is fast and easy. You need a Bob Evans family style mashed potatoes, but you could use anything you like, 3 packets of chicken gravy, a loaf of bread, and some turkey lunch meat. Any kind you like. This is so simple but so good. Here I am making 3 packs of the gravy just according to the directions. You just do the 3 packets, and then for each pack you add a cup of water and you cook it for maybe a minute. It's so fast, just till it thickens up. This meal is so fast and so easy. Then you pop your Bob Evans mashed potatoes in the microwave and you just cook them to whatever watt your microwave is, and mine ends up being about 6 to 7 minutes, and here I'm just showing you how thick the gravy got. This meal is so simple, but it's so comforting because it reminds me of something I ate as a child. You have to use white bread because I'm not sure you'd get the same effect with something else. It's that really comforting food. So this portion was for my husband, so of course it's the gigantic portion that nobody really could eat but him, or I mean anybody could, but his was huge. I did 4 pieces of bread, and then I'll start to lay out the lunch meat for it. And here I am just taking the turkey. It is cold, but it will warm up once the mashed potatoes and the gravy are on it. It's so simple, you don't even have to worry about it. But if you wanted to, you could also put the turkey in the gravy and let it simmer a little bit. But here I am, I'm probably laying about, I don't know, 8 pieces of turkey, and then I'm just gonna lay some mashed potatoes on top. Again, this is a gigantic portion that most people wouldn't eat, but he said he was starving, and he ate every morsel. And I'm just laying them out and spreading them out, and then I'm just gonna add gravy. He does salt and pepper, and you just eat it all up, and it's scrumptious. And then you just ladle whatever amount of gravy you want. I like a lot of gravy on mine. He just likes, I don't know, a normal amount, I suppose. All your Thanksgiving favorites in one. Hi everyone, today we are having homemade spaghetti and meatballs. I have this recipe already up on my channel, but I'll just run it real quick. It is 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 eggs, but I beat them before I add it, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, half of a medium white onion diced, but you can add as much or as little. You could also add parsley, Italian seasoning, basil, anything you wanted. And I do about 2/3 to anywhere between 2/3 and a cup of Italian breadcrumbs. It just is going to depend on how wet your meatballs are and how much you want to do. And then I'm just going to mix all this up and make meatballs, and then I will show you what they look like. And then I bake them in the oven at 400 for 20 minutes, and then I simmer them in a sauce for no less than an hour, but you could do it for a couple hours, and the more it simmers, the better they get. Meatballs, I believe I have 26 here. You could definitely do more or less. I just like them about the size of a dinner meatball, but you could definitely do cocktail meatballs or anything you wanted. And I'm going to bake these at 400 for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to simmer them in sauce for a while. Okay guys, so this is our last meal for this week. It's a Thursday, so this will feed us for at least 2 days, maybe 3 if we need it for Saturday. I have here a pork loin, and it's center cut roast, and it's boneless, and it was only $5.47, which was a great deal. And this is about, I don't know, 2.75 pounds, so it's almost 3 pounds of pork loin. And what I'm making today is like a pork stew. One day I made it about 4 years ago. I just came up with this, and it's really delicious. It's a really nasty day out, and it's in that weather where it's starting to get damp and it's just nasty, so this will really be a nice meal. What you're going to need is pork. You could use beef stock, chicken stock, vegetable stock, whatever you would like, or you could omit this. You could use bouillons, whatever you have. Everything is up to your preference, is what you like. If you don't like something, you can omit it. If you love something different, or you think something would be great in this, let me know. I would love to try anything new. Or you can do whatever you would like. This is just the basis of what I do, and then you can add or subtract anything you want. I'm going to do garlic, of course carrots, you could do celery if you wanted. I'm going to add onion, and like the last hour I add my potatoes because I just don't like them to overcook. And then your seasonings. It's simple and it's delicious, and this is wonderful this time of the year and in the winter time. I use a lot of garlic in this dish, about 9 cloves. You can definitely use a lot less. And this is more like a soup than a stew because it doesn't get very thick, and that's okay because it's still really good. But yeah, I use about 9 cloves of garlic. Here I am slitting 5 holes into my pork, and I'm stuffing it with the garlic. You could cut this up or leave them whole like I am, and then I'm just going to throw the remainder of the garlic in the pot to cook down. They'll get very soft. Here I'm adding about half of a pack of baby carrots, but you could use any carrots you like. We like carrots, so I always add a little extra because they almost taste like candy when they cook down. And now I am adding onion. I add a lot of onion to this dish because I like it, but you can add as much or as little as you like. The more you add, the more flavor. So this has ended up being about half of a jumbo white onion. Now here I am going to season the pork. What I do is salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder. But you definitely want to just be careful with the garlic powder because you don't need a lot because there's already so much garlic. Here I am adding the can of beef broth. If you wanted to use chicken broth, you could too, but I just feel like the beef broth gives it that really good hearty flavor. Don't forget I'm adding some potatoes at the end too, so this isn't quite done. But now I'm going to add about 2 cups of water so you have enough broth. And then I'm going to simmer this probably for 6 to 8 hours on a medium-low heat. And it's going to get nice and tender and almost fall completely apart. Here's the stew after about 5 hours. As you can see, everything's starting to get super tender and it looks super delicious. Here I have about 7 russet potatoes, but you could use any potato you like. And I'm going to cook it for about another hour and a half to an hour, and then we can eat it. And it is so good. Just check here for if you need to add a little more salt. And this is the finished product, perfect for a rainy day. Thank you for watching.